with his first one, and it couldn't have been any more special, being that it was a game winner.
All right, so the Rangers get a much-needed win, improve that record to 2-4-1. 4 of their 5 losses this season coming in have been decided by just 1 goal. A lot of expectations, high expectations for this team that maybe seemed well ahead of the curve, at least what we saw a year ago with the emergence of Artemi Panarin in his first year as a member of the Rangers. Where do you think this team is at, and do they get out of this funk quick enough? Because in a shortened season, you can't fall too far behind too quickly, especially in that division.
Yeah, exactly. Where they're at right now is certainly a little bit behind where they were last season. Last season, they took a huge step forward in their progression. They were ahead of schedule. A lot of their players, of course, led by Panarin, who was a league MVP candidate and an MVP finalist, coupled with Zibanejad having a great season, and, of course, Strome. I really think that they took a bit of a step back in the bubble, and then the shortened training camp, I feel, hurt them because they have so many new pieces, rather, that they want to integrate into this lineup. I spoke to Coach Quinn not that while ago on a Zoom with the Rangers, and I really feel that a lot of what he said held true. He wants them to play harder. He wants them to play a certain style of game. And again, when you have all these new pieces and a shortened camp and no preseason, I think that's kind of complicated the difficulty we've seen from them out of the gates. But much better their last 2 games. This is a huge one. Lafreniere getting this game-winning goal is massive. And also, of course, Panarin being on the board the way he typically does. Hard-fought win for them up in Buffalo.
And Shesterkin picking up his first one of the season.
Yes.
We know what his talents are capable of. Hasn't shown us that just yet through the first 3 starts. Looked much better in this one. How much does confidence help a young netminder, especially when you get off to maybe not the greatest start to a season like that?
Absolutely. I just did an interview on this, and funny you'd ask me that. He's never struggled at any level of hockey, ever. And then he went to the KHL. He shredded that up. He came to the American League last year, HL All-Star in a quartered season, shredded that up, and came to the NHL, and you look at his numbers. So this is the first test of adversity that he's really had. And with their great goalie coach, Benoit Allaire, he's going to do everything he can to get him through it. It's just a matter of time and just sticking to the formula, sticking to the plan, which I know from playing for Benny in New York. He'll get him through this rough patch. But he looked really good in this one. And, hey, listen, when you get the win, especially on the road in OT, those go a long way, so he can build on that.
All right, going back to Lafreniere, first time in NHL history that a first overall pick scores his first NHL game in overtime. You can see the last 5 #1 overall picks and how many games it took for them to score their first career goal. Jack Hughes last year picked up his first point in his 7th game. His first goal came in his 8th game. Rasmus Dahlin, 5th game. Nico Hischier, 7th. And Austin Matthews, 1st game. And, oh, by the way, he had 4 in those. So it just goes to show you how special guys like Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid were and how we were treated to those success right off the hop. But, I mean, It just takes some time for some of these guys. It's, like you said, it's the first time they've battled adversity probably at any point in their hockey lives.
Yeah, no question. And, listen, when you come off an extended offseason and you don't have the benefit, and for any player, but especially for young players that are trying to get acclimated to the NHL, and you don't have the benefit of an extended training camp with NHL preseason games, it's tough to be able to gauge where your game is at individually. It's difficult. And, you know, the uncertainty in and around when the season would start and what that looked like, it really changed the course of a natural off season, as you hear Commissioner Bettman and Deputy Commissioner Bill Daley talk about all the time. And then not having those preseason games to say, okay, how do I match up? Is my strength where it needs to be? Is my conditioning where it needs to be? These are some little plays that I can kind of run that I was running in junior or college that I can or can't necessarily run at the NHL level. So it takes time. But I love your point, J-Mo. Some of those guys on that board, Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, those are, you said it earlier in the show, generational players.
Unbelievable.
Those players are incredible. You look at what they've done. I'll just share this with the great viewers out there that are tuned in around the world. Wayne Gretzky told me last year, our team's different. We see the Oilers are different. I loved Connor McDavid. That's Wayne Gretzky saying that. So you had to know where this kid was going in his game. And, of course, the same for Draisaitl in that team. And then as far as the Leafs, I'm a Toronto-born kid. I grew up there. And Austin Matthews has had the best start to his career than any player in the history of the Toronto Maple Leafs as a proud Original Six franchise. That's how rare those two players are.
All right, enjoy them while we have them. And it doesn't last forever, so each and every time they take the ice, you never know what you're going to see. And oftentimes, it's something special.